Darrell pulled into the parking lot of Prestige Motors, the flagship dealership he had recently acquired in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. The desert heat shimmered off the luxury vehicles parked out front, their glossy finishes glowing under the afternoon sun. He parked his modest SUV in an unmarked spot at the back and stepped out, scanning the dealership's facade. Dressed in a simple gray hoodie, slightly worn jeans, and sneakers, Darrell's appearance was far from flashy. His choice to dress casually was deliberate. He wanted to see the dealership's true colors when no one knew the new boss was watching. As he walked toward the entrance, he noticed a group of employees chatting near the front desk. Laughter and casual conversation hummed through the glass doors. Darrell stepped inside. The cool, air-conditioned showroom contrasted sharply with the heat outside, carrying the faint scent of leather and fresh wax. Rows of pristine cars sparkled under the bright lights. The chatter quieted as Darrell entered. He caught employees exchanging brief glances, their eyes flicking to his hoodie and sneakers. He could feel the subtle shift in energy, that kind of judgment that speaks louder than words. But Darrell wasn't here to jump to conclusions. He was here to observe. From across the showroom, Susan approached, a middle-aged woman with sharp features. She carried herself with authority, her tailored blazer and polished heels emphasizing her professional demeanor. With a clipboard tucked under her arm, she exuded efficiency. "Excuse me," Susan began, her tone cool and clipped. "Can I help you with something?" Darrell smiled, calm and friendly. "Just here to look around," he said, gesturing toward the cars. Susan's eyes scanned him from head to toe. Her polite smile tightened, replaced by a look of skepticism. "Are you shopping for a car?" she asked, doubt seeping into her voice. Darrell nodded. "Something like that." Susan's tone sharpened. "Well, we cater to a very specific clientele here. Most of our inventory requires pre-qualification. Perhaps I could recommend—" Before she could finish, another employee interrupted, calling her away. Susan turned back to Darrell, her gaze guarded. "Don't wander too far," she said with forced politeness before walking off. Darrell raised an eyebrow but kept his composure. "You're assuming I'm not qualified?" he asked, his tone light. Susan hesitated but recovered quickly. "I'm just trying to save you some time," she said, her smile thin. "These vehicles start at 6 figures. Maybe I can direct you to—" Darrell's smile didn't waver, but her assumptions were clear. As the tension grew, he moved to admire a sleek silver coupe nearby. "Nice car," he said, brushing the door handle. Susan's polite facade cracked further. "Please don't touch the vehicles unless you're ready to make a serious inquiry," she said firmly. "All right," Darrell replied, stepping back. "Let's hear it. What would you recommend for someone like me?" Surprised by his directness, Susan stammered before replying, "Maybe something more budget-friendly. I can give you directions to a dealership that specializes in pre-owned vehicles." Darrell's faint smile didn't reach his eyes. "That's quite the assumption," he said softly. The words lingered, leaving Susan visibly uncomfortable. Minutes later, Susan returned with a list of used cars. "These are more accessible models," she said, handing him the printout. Darrell glanced at the list, then folded it into his pocket. "Appreciate the effort," he said evenly. Susan's tone dropped as she leaned in slightly. "Prestige Motors isn't for everyone. I'm just trying to be realistic." Darrell met her gaze. "And what makes you think I'm not your target customer?" Susan's confidence wavered, but she pushed on. "I've been doing this a long time. I can tell when someone's out of their depth." Darrell chuckled softly. "Honesty? I like that. How about you let me speak to the owner?" Susan blinked. The owner doesn't just drop by for casual visits. They're a busy person. Darrell nodded. I'll give them a call myself, he said, pulling out his phone. Confusion spread across Susan's face as Darrell made a brief call. Moments later, the showroom's doors swung open, and a sharply dressed man entered. Mr. Carter, the man said warmly, extending his hand. Good to see you. Darrell shook his hand. Thanks for coming, Alex. The room fell silent. Susan's face turned pale. Mr. Carter? She echoed. Alex, the regional director, turned to her. You've already met the new owner of this dealership. Darrell's calm expression didn't falter. Susan, he said, let me ask you something. If I hadn't been the owner, would you have treated me differently? Susan stammered, unable to respond. Darrell nodded. Let's gather everyone in the conference room, he said. We need to talk about how things are run around here. If you enjoyed this story and its powerful message, don't forget to subscribe to the Story Hub and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload.